You may all be seated. My name is Cara Rodden and I am the celebrant representing Brunswick Valley Funerals today. I'm also joined by Funeral Director Michael Curry. Before we proceed, I'd ask you to check your mobile phones and devices are turned off or on silent. We are gathered here today to celebrate the life and honour the memory of a remarkable woman, Mildred Young. Though we mourn her passing, we shall find comfort in knowing that she is no longer suffering. Together, this beautiful community of Mildreds will share stories, reflect on cherished moments, and pay our respects to a much-loved woman. Sadly, Mildred's beloved nieces and nephews who now live overseas are unable to be with us here today. Michael, Susan, Liam and Jennifer want you all to know that they are with us here in spirit and they send their love. As most of you all know, Mildred was affectionately known as the Pocket Rocket. At 5 foot tall, Mildred was small but mighty. Mildred had a sense of vitality and unbridled enthusiasm that never wavered throughout her life. Even in her final weeks and days, she faced her battle with cancer bravely and determinedly. At 83 years young, Mildred lived a fulfilling life, brimming with love, wisdom and adventure. As we gather here, let us remember the lessons she taught us and the imprints she left on our hearts. Mildred Barbara Young was born on the 1st of January 1940, a New Year's Day baby. This, her mother would always remind her, was why she loved a party. Mildred was born in the middle-class suburb of Wilston in Brisbane to parents Deirdre and Larry. She was the baby of the family. Her older brother and sister were twins. The twins, Jane and Keith, always teased her that she had been an accident because of the 10-year age difference. But Mildred's father always roared laughing when they caught them doing this. He had a soft spot for Mildred and reminded them that he and their mother had done their best work when they created their baby sister, even if it was a surprise. As a child, Mildred loved sports. She was always running, skipping, jumping, catching, kicking, throwing, batting, scoring. Back then, she was a bit of an anomaly in the sporting world. Not many young girls were encouraged to pursue their athletic interests, particularly one as small in stature as Mildred. But her father was her biggest cheerleader, and he happily argued with coaches and teachers to ensure Mildred could always have a go. It was this love of sport that had Mildred cross paths with a very handsome young man on the running track. They were both the tender age of 16 years. Howard was an excellent 800 metre runner. Mildred was finding her stride in the 100 metres. Mildred would hang back after her races and quietly cheer Howard on from the sidelines. Eventually, Howard plucked up the courage to ask Mildred to the local church dance, and the rest, as they say, is history. Mildred and Howard wed 2 years later when they were legally able to do so. They had both finished school and decided to move to Byron Bay to live closer to nature. Howard was doing an apprenticeship and Mildred was working in a dance costume shop. They loved these early years of marriage, where they would set out on hikes together and go for ocean swims and borrow library books and head out dancing and make new friends in their coastal community. Sadly, Mildred and Howard struggled to conceive, but rather than wallow in self-pity, they decided to set the benchmark high on how to be the best auntie and uncle to Jane and Keith's children, who had both married and had 2 children each. Mildred loved visiting Brisbane to babysit her nieces and nephews on weekends, go to their sporting matches, and take them on shopping trips. Anything at all to spend quality time with them. Mildred and Howard both had a deep passion for travel. After they discovered they couldn't have children, they sat down and made a list of 50 countries they wanted to travel to before they died. And they set about planning some trips. In their 20s, they focused on Europe, the UK, France, Germany, Switzerland, Sweden, Norway. In their 30s, it was Africa, Mozambique, Kenya, South Africa, Tanzania. In their 40s, they explored South America, Brazil, Peru, Chile, Ecuador, Bolivia. In their 50s, they skipped off to Asia, Vietnam, Thailand, Japan, China, Singapore. They clocked up 20 countries before Howard's mobility started to slow them down in their 60s. Of course, being the team player that she was, Mildred refused to travel to the countries remaining on their list without Howard. So instead, they bought books and cooked meals and searched the internet for little cultural tidbits about the countries they couldn't travel together. Mildred lost Howard in 2013. He was 73 when he passed from Parkinson's disease. Despite being broken-hearted, Mildred made a promise to Howard that she would keep living her life, and Mildred never broke a promise. Not long after Howard's death, Mildred moved into the Suffolk Park RSL Life Care facility. She was lonely living in the house that she had shared with Howard for several decades. Mildred couldn't believe how much happier she was living in this community with such beautiful souls. Mildred loved having a hit of tennis, dabbling in some art, playing her weekly round of bingo, and being the chief social director of the Life Care's social club. Mildred's constant smile, infectious laugh, and big heart made everyone feel welcome. She was truly one of a kind. Despite her quick decline after her cancer diagnosis just 6 weeks ago, Mildred led an active, colourful, bold life for the last several years of her life. Having lost the great love of her life 10 years ago, and sadly, her brother and sister in quick succession, just 2 years later, Mildred considered many of you here today from RSL Life Care her chosen family. She greatly appreciated this community. Mildred taught all of us to live life to the full. A woman of courage, strength, kindness, and love. She personified grace, even in life's most challenging moments. One of her favourite quotes from the American baseball player Babe Ruth: "Never let the fear of striking out get in your way." The perfect reminder of how Mildred lived her life and how she inspires us to live ours. In her final weeks, Mildred spent much time sharing her final wishes. She had many ideas for her funeral that have been duly incorporated into today's service. Mildred was very clear that she didn't want to burden any of her remaining friends at the nursing home with the task of speaking here today. She was clear that she wanted this service to be short and sweet. Like her, these were Mildred's words. In lieu of having someone speak today, Mildred requested a letter be read out. This is the final letter that her beloved husband, Howard, wrote to her before he died. She wanted to remind each of you of the great love she shared with Howard for the best part of 65 years. This letter is a reminder that whilst we grieve for Mildred's passing, she is now reunited with her soulmate. Date, 3rd of April, 2013. To my dearest Mildred, as I write these words with a heavy heart, knowing that my time in this world is drawing to a close, I want you to know that my love for you burns brighter than ever. As I lie here on this bed, My thoughts and emotions are consumed by the love I have for you. I want you to know that my love for you will endure beyond this life and into eternity. Words cannot express the depth of gratitude I feel for having shared my life with you. From the moment our eyes met at the running track, my heart knew that I had found my life partner. You became the anchor that steadied me through life's storms and the light that guided me in the darkest of times. Our journey together has been a tapestry woven with countless beautiful moments, from the joy and wonder we shared on our travel adventures to the quiet moments of comfort we found watching a sunrise from our favourite beach. Every memory is etched into the very fabric of my soul. You have been my partner, my confidant, and my best friend. Through the years, we have weathered our fair share of trials and tribulations, but it was the strength of our love that carried us through. Your unwavering support and unwavering belief in me gave me the courage to face any challenge that came our way. Your love was the balm that healed my wounds and the gentle touch that breathed life into my weary spirit. Whilst we did not have children of our own, I know the love we gifted our nieces and nephews was our small way of cultivating a legacy for future generations. As I prepare to leave this world, I find solace in knowing that you will be surrounded by people who love and care about you. Lean on them when the burden feels too heavy and allow them to bring you comfort and strength. Know that you are never alone. Our love will always be with you, guiding you through the days to come. Although my physical presence may no longer be by your side, my spirit will be your constant companion, whispering words of love and encouragement when you need them most. I have one final request, my love. Live your life to the fullest. Embrace every moment with the joy and gratitude. Seek happiness and never let grief consume you. Remember, my love, that love is eternal. It transcends time and space, and it will always bind our souls together. Forever and always, your loving husband, Howard. One of Mildred's favourite songs was What the World Needs Now by Burt Bacharach. We're going to take a few minutes to play this song while we reflect on Mildred's amazing life and what she meant to each of us. If any of you have a letter, or flowers, or a gift you would like to leave on the coffin, I invite you to come forward one at a time while the song plays. I'd like to now read a poem by Linda Ellis. It's called The Dash Poem and was picked by Mildred as a reminder to all of us to live life with intention. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke to the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that they spent alive on earth, and now only those who love them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that still can be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering this special dash might only last a while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? We are now going to proceed to Mildred's final resting place. If I could ask you all to stand as the pallbearers take the casket out of the chapel. Please slowly exit the chapel after the casket passes you by. Michael and myself will meet you outside to walk you to the gravesite.